Hey first graders, today we're going to be talking about telling time. But before we start, I wanted to show you my sweatshirt. We have our USA, which is the United States of America. We have our United States flag symbol, which has our 50 stars for our 50 states, and also 13 stripes for those original first 13 states that joined. And then on the bottom, we have Washington, D.C., which is actually our country's capital in Maryland. So when telling time, usually we see things on our watches or on our phones, but have you ever seen a clock like this? So this is called an analog clock. An analog clock shows you each number and has two arrows, an hour hand and a minute hand. And what shape does this look like? A circle, right? So it kind of reminds me of a cycle and how a cycle goes around and around and how it keeps happening. Well, same thing as an analog clock. And that's what we're going to be focusing on today. So let me make myself a little bit smaller. All right. So this is a interactive analog clock, which means that we can move it ourselves. And I'll be sure to post this below the video so then you can work on it at home as well. So the first thing we need to focus on is knowing that our kiddos know how to count by ones up to 60 and counting by fives up to 60. The reason why is because for every time, there are 60 minutes in 1 hour. So that means that this minute hand, our bigger hand right here, every time it gets to a new little tick mark, it means 1 minute is passing. So if we counted all the tick marks, all these little black lines, there would be 60 of them because there are 60 minutes in 1 hour. So if we went to 2 o'clock right here, each tick mark would mean 1, counting by ones, but every time you get to a new number, you count by fives. So if we were here, we would count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and so on. So whenever you get to a new tick mark, you do count by ones, but when you get to a new number, you count by fives. So watch. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Do you hear that? We're counting by fives. So every time you get to a new number in your minute hand, you count by fives. When you see these tiny little tick marks, you just count on by ones. Now our hour hand. Our hour hand is our tinier hand, and it counts by ones as well, but it only changes in the hour hand when you get to a new number. So if we were here, the hour hand, our smaller hand, is at the 2, which means it is 2, and there's 0, 0 here in our right-hand corner, which means it's o'clock. Whenever the minute hand is on the 12, it means that it's o'clock, 0, 0, after our colon here. So whenever our minute hand is on the 12, it means that it's o'clock. So we don't say 60, we don't say 12 when our minute hand is here. We go back to 0. So if we were here and we said 0 or o'clock, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So every time our minute hand is on the 12, it means that it's a new hour because our smaller hour hand is on the 2 and our minute longer hand is on the 12 or o'clock. So let's move this around to right here. Now, if you see our hour hand, it's in between the 2 and the 3. Well, is it at the 3 though? No, it is not at the 3, which means that it is still 2 in our first part before the colon. And it's counting by, you could count by ones with each tick mark, or every time you get to a new number, you can count by fives. So this part is 0, 0 or o'clock, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. So it is 2:30. Now, before we continue, I did want to show you something. Look at the way that both of the little, both hands are moving. They're going this way. Do you see that? That's called clockwise. So as a clock moves, it means it's getting to the bigger numbers. Then like a cycle, it goes back around. So make sure that you're not going counterclockwise, because time doesn't go backwards. It goes forwards. It wants to go to the bigger number. And then once it gets to the O clock R12, it starts back over again. And definitely when you pull up this website, definitely practice moving the clock the right way. All right, so now we are here. So I'm going to turn this off so we don't cheat, right? So if our hour hand is on what number? The 4, right? So that's our first part. The hour hand always goes first. And then we look at our minute hand. It's on the 1. Well, if you look, this is our O clock right here. And then if we counted by 5s, 5, then it'd be 4:05. What if I went to here? Well, it's so close. The hour hand is so close to the 5, isn't it? But it's not there yet. Remember, a new hour only happens when you get to the minute hand gets to the 12 to make it an O clock. So we are still at 4 before our colon, our 2 dots, 4, and then we count by 5s to get to our 10 to see what time it is in our minute after the colon. So 0, 0, o'clock, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. So it is 4:50. 4:50. Now, if I turn this back on, I want to show you what this is. This says PM. But before, if we go backwards counterclockwise, look at what happens when we went backwards to here. It went from PM to AM. So AM means in the morning. So AM can mean from when we're asleep all the way up until around lunchtime. So on a normal school day at 11:30 a.m., we would be eating lunch. So at 11:30, our 11, because it's not quite at the 12 yet, our hour hand isn't at the 12, so it's still 11. And then if we counted by 5s up to our 6, it means that it would be 30, because o'clock, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. So 11:30. But at 11:30 p.m., if we moved our clock a full 12 hours and we would get to 11:30 p.m., we would probably be asleep. So there are 2 activities I would like us to do at home. And let me just make myself a little bit bigger. Okay. So with our clock, what I did here is you can make your own clock. All you need are markers to write your numbers, 2 tiny pieces of paper to cut out arrows. I wrote hour and minute just in case, we needed to clarify that. But our hour hands are smaller hand and our minute hands are bigger hand, and also a paper plate. And I used like a thumbtack or a pushpin, but really anything to push those 2 arrows in, and you can move your clock around. So that would be a really fun activity to do with your kiddos today. The next activity I want us to do is what we would be doing in the AM and what we would be doing in the PM. So at 11 a.m., you know how much Mr. Bell likes to go running, right? So I drew my analog clock right there, and it's at 11 o'clock. Our bigger minute hand's on the 12 o'clock, and our smaller hour hand is on the 11 for 11 o'clock. So there I am at 11 a.m. running. But at 11 p.m., if you look at our p.m., that's at night, I would be sleeping. So when once you watch this video, definitely take a piece of paper, grab some markers, and have your kiddos write or draw what they would be doing in the morning and what they would be doing at night, a.m., p.m. You might need to help them pick a time, just so then they know which times that they would be up and which times that they would be asleep. At what time they would be awake and what time they would be asleep. All right. Have a good day and miss you. And hopefully I'll see you soon. Bye.